people, and I would tend to agree with this, think that it comes from Aboriginal words that mimic the sound that the koala makes. Well, and there are a range of Aboriginal words that sound sort of like koala.
They're only found in Australia, right?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, there are marsupials that live in South America, but the koala is one of the marsupials that are only found in Australia.
Native to Australia.
Native to Australia, that's right, yes.
Well, we'd better take him off to his new home now. If we can do so without him scratching and biting us.
Which way?
Oh, we'll head off down this way.
You lead, you're the expert. After the exam, we return the koala to the forest until checkup time next year.
Get him out of the bag.
Yeah, will he go right up the tree, or?
Well, he might decide he doesn't like this one, so he may run off elsewhere.
Will he come after us?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not? Whoa, look at him go. He's much happier up there than he was down here, wasn't he? Welcome to your new home, Purple, right?
Are a family with lots of variety. We are unusual. We are marsupial.
Koala.
Kangaroo. Possum.
Bandicoot.
Wombat. And wallaby. We are a family with lots of variety. We are unusual. We are marsupial.
We are special mammals, over 200 different kinds.
More than 50 kinds of kangaroo.
Gray,
Red,
desert rat,
to name a few. We are a family with lots of variety. We are unusual. We are marsupial. We are a family with lots of variety. Are unusual.
We are
Marsupials. Marsupials.
Very coarse and rough, aren't they? Must be hard for the koala to digest.
Yes, well, that's exactly what I'm interested in, is how a koala deals with it.
Back at his lab, Dr. Cork analyzes the eucalyptus leaves to better understand how koalas get by on such a difficult diet.
It's very stringy.
It's very stringy, and that's partly because of the high fiber content in it.
They're really sticky. It's like all gummy on the outside.
Well, that's the oils and resins that are in the leaves. When the leaf gets damaged, they ooze out onto the surface.
Smells?
What does that smell?
Well, that's the essence of the oils, or the essential oils in the leaves, and they're what give eucalypts their characteristic odour.
It sounds familiar. It smells like cough drops.
Yeah, well, eucalyptus essential oils are used in small amounts in cough drops. Unfortunately, in large amounts, they are highly poisonous.
But how can the koalas keep eating the leaves if they're poisonous?
Well, all animals have a certain capacity to break down toxins like that. The koala has an especially high ability to do that, and it does it in the liver and then excretes the detoxified compounds in the urine.
So it urinates away all the bad compounds and the poisons.
That's right. But it takes a certain amount of energy to do that, so that's another area where the koala has to use some of its energy to detoxify the leaves.
What other foods do you find fibre in a human diet?
Well, in the human diet, things like bran, fruit, vegetables.
A lot of bran cereals too, right?
That's right, bran cereals.
Like fibre.
And we hear a lot about fibre for humans, but most people don't really know what it is. And it's really the walls of the cells in plant material. Bran comes from wheat. And it's very difficult for any animal to digest.
So why do we eat it if it's difficult to digest?
Okay, because it's difficult to digest, it helps to keep everything else moving through the digestive tract and keeps you healthy. And for humans, a small amount of bran is very good for you. The problem that the koala has to face is that its diet contains 10 to 15 times as much fibre as even the most high fibre diets that vegetarians would eat.
If the leaf consists of mainly of fiber and of the poisonous eucalyptus oils, how can the koala sustain itself on just eating eucalyptus leaves?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer, and it's one that people have speculated on a lot. But perhaps the simplest answer is that if an animal can evolve the capability to use this sort of diet, then it doesn't have much competition for food.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think, is this enough leaves?
Well, that, together with this bag, is around about the amount that a koala would eat in one day.
Really? That many leaves?
That's a lot of chewing.
Yeah.
That's why they need those strong teeth, isn't it? The way that we saw them.
That's right, and because the leaves are so tough, they use those flat back teeth to grind it into very fine particles so that the digestive enzymes can get into the cells.
How can you be sure that there are fibers and there are the proper nutrients in these leaves?
Well, the simplest way to tell is that koalas eat them and they survive and reproduce. But one thing you do notice with koalas is they very rarely get fat, and that's an indication that they're only just getting enough. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is break the leaves down just like they would.
Then Dr. Cork took us through a series of experiments to show us firsthand what eucalyptus leaves are made of.
Quite that many, just a small sample.
There's heaps of them. How many the koalas actually eat?
Finding out what is in eucalyptus leaves begins with breaking them down into very small pieces.
Small sample.
Once the leaves are cut up, certain chemicals are added to break them down into even smaller pieces. The chemicals work like saliva in the koala's mouth. When the solution is mixed thoroughly, this experiment mimics the digestive process that begins in the koala's mouth.
Okay, we've got the leaves now all broken up in solution, just like they'd be in the koala's mouth when it has chewed the leaf, and all the contents of the cells have been released. And what we're looking at here is one of the compounds that's released, the tannins. Okay, now we've got 4 tubes here that have got different amounts of tannin in them, and they've got a chemical that reacts with the tannin to cause it to form a blue colour. So the more tannin, the more blue colour. So you can see there's no tannin in that one, there's a lot in that one.
What is tannin? What does it do?
Tannin is the compound that's present in things like unripe fruits. If you eat an unripe fruit, it draws your mouth together. And the reason for that is that the tannin binds with protein. And in that case, it binds with the protein in your mouth, pulling it together. In the case of the koala, it binds with the protein in the diet that the koala needs to survive and makes it unavailable. So it's a big nutritional problem for the koala.
Tannin is a chemical in the leaves that prevents the koala's body from using protein. Add a colored dye to the broken down leaves, and you can tell how much tannin is present. More blue color means more tannin and less usable protein for the koala. That happened fast, didn't it?
Yeah.
Can we compare it to these other ones?
That's the idea.
No, it's too different.
No, a bit more than that one. Probably that last one.
It's got a lot of tannin.
What percentage of tannins in that last one?
Well, that last tube is equivalent to the leaf having about a quarter tannin.
And what does that tell you?
Well, it tells us that the koala's got another big nutritional problem to face because eucalypt foliage doesn't have much protein in it to start with, and then all this tannin present is going to make most of that protein unavailable.
So it's got a big eating problem. It's got eucalyptus leaves whose oils are poisonous. It has to eat a lot of fiber, but its body can't use the fiber. And it's got protein, but it really can't be used because of all the tannin.
That's right.
Is that why it has to eat so much?
Well, it gets most of its energy from only a very small part of the leaf, and yes, that's why it's got to eat so much, to get enough of that part of the leaf and to get rid of all the other stuff that it doesn't need.
It's incredible.
Okay, that looks about done, so I'll just switch them all
To
off.
see how much fiber is present in the leaves, boil the broken down leaves and use suction to separate the fiber from the rest of the leaf contents. That much fiber comes from that little amount of leaves.
That's right, about 30 to 50% of the leaf is fibre. There's very few other animals that can utilise a diet that high in fibre.
The koala has a pretty clever digestive system then.
That's right.
And these aren't too bad. Koalas don't eat just any eucalyptus leaves. They're very picky eaters, choosing leaves from specific trees, leaves located in specific spots on the trees. Though there are more than 600 species of eucalyptus trees grown in Australia, koalas prefer to eat the leaves from only 35 tree types. Most koalas prefer young leaves, which are found on the ends of branches. Young or old, leaves are tough food to break down. To cope with such a harsh diet, koalas have adapted in numerous ways. Specialized teeth tear and grind leaves down to a fine pulp for easier digestion. An unusually long intestinal tract is another way koalas have adapted to survive on a diet of leaves. It's here that bacteria break down the leaves, which makes them easier to digest. The koala's liver is adapted to break down the poisonous substances found in the leaves. By taking a close look at a eucalyptus leaf, we can see what's in the koala's diet. A typical eucalyptus leaf contains about 50% water, 30% fiber, 5% sugar, 4% protein, and 10% poisonous oils. The poisons in the oils keep the koala from getting most of the protein out of the leaf. And that's why koalas need to eat so many leaves. No other mammal can survive on a diet of just eucalyptus leaves. Koalas, tree-dwelling, leaf-eating mammals of Australia. "321 Contact" is a production of the Children's Television Workshop. For a copy of a comprehensive 321 Contact Teacher's Guide, send a check for $5 to Children's Television Workshop, 321 Contact, Box TG, 1 Lincoln Plaza, New York, New York, 10023.
He's a child of the music hall whose father favors alcohol and other women, and whose mother tries to hold the family together. The story of young Charlie Chaplin, from his school days to his early experiences on the stage to the forces that influenced his life. Twiggy and Ian McShane star in Young Charlie Chaplin on the next Wonderworks.
Sunday at 7 on Channel 9. Here comes a brand new season of Austin City Limits. Channel 9.
You're watching Channel 9, KETC St. Louis.